She stood up in the middle of the dinner and declared, loud enough for the entire table to hear, "I'm engaged to your best friend. We've been together for months." Every fork froze midair. Every pair of eyes locked on me, bracing for the meltdown. I didn't speak. I simply reached under the table, opened my phone, selected one photograph, and airdropped it straight to him. Her name was Amelia. His name was Liam. For the past 4 years, I had genuinely believed my future was secure. Solid job, stunning girlfriend, childhood best friend. In reality, I had nothing but a live grenade with a 6-week fuse, and for those exact 6 weeks, I had been quietly removing every pin so that when it finally detonated, I would be the only one left standing. The first hairline fracture appeared 8 weeks earlier. The Amelia I fell in love with was easygoing, happiest in sweatpants with takeout and Netflix. The new Amelia became addicted to appearances. Suddenly nothing was good enough unless it came with a recognizable logo or a guest list that required approval. Our lazy weekends disappeared, replaced by invitations I was never consulted about. When I asked, she brushed me off. "It's for my career, Ethan. Networking. You wouldn't get it." Then came the presents. A limited edition handbag she scored on sale. Shoes that cost more than my car note. Supposedly a thank you from a grateful client. The explanations were always just believable enough to make me feel paranoid for doubting her. Liam, of course, praised every change. He'd come over to watch the game, sling an arm around my shoulder and say, "Bro, she's ambitious. You're lucky to have a woman with that kind of fire." Now I understand he wasn't praising her. He was measuring how easily he could take her. The real red flag went up exactly 6 weeks ago. It wasn't one dramatic moment. It was a dozen tiny, deliberate shifts. She began shielding her phone like it held nuclear codes, tilting the screen away, slipping into the hallway for calls. Then her laptop mysteriously died right before a major presentation. She asked to borrow the desktop in our shared home office, just for a couple of weeks. As a software engineer, I know my way around systems. I told her I'd create a clean new user account so she wouldn't mess with my files. That was my window. Before I handed over the profile, I silently installed a lightweight keylogger and remote access tool. It felt filthy, but my instincts were screaming that trust had already left the building. I only wanted proof. I got it the very first night. From my laptop in the bedroom, I watched, in real time, as she opened a hidden email account. I read the thread with Liam. They weren't just flirting, they were mapping out an entire future. They laughed at my salary, my safe job, my lack of flash. They debated the perfect way to drop the bomb, so I'd be too shocked to fight back. Then I scrolled further and found the messages to Julian Croft, late 50s, married, absurdly rich real estate tycoon. Those emails were ice-cold seduction wrapped in flattery. Liam wasn't the end goal. He was the respectable stepping stone until she landed the real jackpot. The betrayal hit like a fist to the sternum. My girlfriend. My oldest friend. But the rage lasted only seconds before it crystallized into something calmer, sharper. They believed they were the clever ones. I decided to let them keep believing it, right up until the moment I pulled the floor out from under them. I kept watching. I collected everything. Hotel reservations for work trips her company never approved, all charged to Julian's black card. Receipts for every client gift. A week ago, the final piece clicked. She announced another conference in a neighboring city. My software showed a completely different itinerary. A suite booked under Julian's name at a private coastal resort and a private jet confirmation to the airstrip beside his mansion. I knew Julian was obsessed with sailing and had a favorite waterfront restaurant near that estate. I called in sick, told Amelia I was driving to see my ill aunt, and spent 2 full days parked across the street from that restaurant with a telephoto lens. At dusk on the second day they walked out, his arm possessive around her waist, her laughing up at him with the exact same adoring smile she once gave me. He wore a custom platinum watch that showed up in half his Instagram posts. I zoomed, focused, and took one crystal-clear shot. Amelia, Julian, and that unmistakable watch. I had my kill shot. The finale was orchestrated by Liam himself. Monday he called, voice dripping with fake excitement, insisting we all celebrate Friday night at one of their new favorite upscale spots. Big news, man. Bring Amelia. It was almost sweet how obvious they were. They didn't just want to leave me. They wanted to humiliate me in front of our entire circle, announce the engagement publicly so I'd have to sit there and take it. Classic power move. I smiled and said I wouldn't miss it. Those 4 days I moved like a ghost. Opened a new bank account, drained every dime from our joint one, leaving just enough for coffee. Lawyer drew up an eviction notice. My house, my deed, her name nowhere. Professional movers came, boxed every pair of designer heels, every tube of lipstick, and locked it all in a storage unit I paid for 1 month in advance. By Friday morning, my home looked like she had never existed, except for that single photograph waiting on my phone. Friday night, the restaurant buzzed with their excitement. They kept exchanging smug little glances, fingers brushing under the table, ordering the most expensive champagne like they'd already won. After dessert, Amelia rose, clinking her glass, radiant with rehearsed tears. "Thank you all for coming," she began, voice trembling with theatrical emotion. "This year, I finally chose to follow my heart. Sometimes you outgrow the life you have, and I'm so grateful to have found the person I'm truly meant to be with." She turned to Liam. "We're engaged." The table exploded in forced applause from the friends they'd pre-briefed. Every head swiveled to me, waiting for the tears, the shouting, the scene. I just smiled, calm and pleasant, looked Liam dead in the eye, gave him a small nod like I was congratulating him, then glanced down at my phone. Selected the photo. Airdrop Liam. His phone pinged. He frowned, opened it, and the blood drained from his face so fast I thought he'd pass out. He stared at the screen, then at Amelia, then at me, and for the first time he understood he wasn't the king on this chessboard. He shoved his chair back, so hard it screeched. "When was this taken?" he demanded, voice low and lethal, thrusting the phone toward her. Amelia tried to grab it. "Baby, what?" "With Julian Croft. Last Saturday. The day you told me you were at your aunt's funeral." He turned the screen to the table so everyone could see. "Booked on my credit card, by the way. You could have heard a pin drop." Liam pulled the velvet ring box from his pocket, yanked out the diamond, and threw it onto the marble floor where it spun like a dying star. "We're done. You're disgusting." He looked at me, shame flickering behind the fury. He knew the whole time. He announced to the table, tossed cash for his portion, and stormed out. Amelia sat frozen, mascara already running. Her triumphant moment had become a public execution. I laid my card on the tray for my share, stood, and said quietly, "Interesting evening, everyone," then walked out into the night air that suddenly tasted like freedom. When I got home, the apartment was spotless and silent. I blocked every number that mattered. An hour later, the doorbell camera showed Amelia hysterical, pounding on the door, screaming my name. I let her rage for a while, then spoke through the intercom. "There's nothing to discuss. Your things are in storage. The key is being overnight to your parents. Goodbye." She flipped between threats and sobbing pleas. "I always loved you. Julian meant nothing. Please, I have nowhere to go." Until her voice cracked. I muted the feed and poured myself a whiskey. One last play. I created a burner account, found Eleanor Croft's public profile, and sent her the same photograph with the caption, "Your husband last Saturday. Thought you should know." The dominoes fell beautifully. Next morning, Amelia's father called, voice heavy. The courier had just delivered the storage key. After hearing her version and then seeing how thoroughly I'd erased her from my life, they knew whose story held water. They gave her an ultimatum: therapy and a real job or no more safety net. 2 days later, I received a polite email from Eleanor Croft's assistant requesting a discreet call. I sent Eleanor everything: hotel receipts, flight confirmations, shopping sprees on Julian's cards. She thanked me coolly, asked no favors, and hung up. The newspapers did the rest. Eleanor didn't just divorce Julian, she eviscerated him. Used the affair to trigger penalty clauses, seized control of his prized subsidiary, and left him a financial cripple fighting lawsuits on 3 continents. His messages to Amelia stopped the same day the prenup breach hit the courts. Amelia tried one final desperate Hail Mary: a lawyer letter claiming common law marriage and demanding half my house plus emotional damages. My attorney's reply was one glorious page citing state law, attaching the deed, the eviction notice, and a polite note that any litigation would require deposing both Liam and Julian, currently drowning in his own divorce bloodbath. The letter was never answered. 6 months later, the silence is absolute. Word is Amelia lives in her parents' basement, working a dead-end admin gig and telling anyone who will listen how unfair the world is. Julian is selling assets to pay lawyers. Liam moved 3 states away and changes the subject if my name comes up. Eleanor's company is bigger than ever. My house is quiet, my accounts are full, and my weekends are mine again. They thought they were playing chess while I was playing an entirely different game. They never realized I had already rewritten the rules, moved the pieces in the dark, and walked away before the board even caught fire. I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I just thought 3 moves ahead and won.